Israel. Trust me, this is gonna break your heart. This is going to break you down. Cause you're on your way to Babylon. No one's gonna let you come in. Doors are fastened, windows are pinned. Keep your hands on that plow.
Are we always impoverished? Why are we in bad living conditions? Why are we the highest unemployed in the whole country? Nobody ever asked the question.
Greetings to everybody. Greetings to everybody. Yes, we are live here tonight. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. YouTube for IOG Orlando. YouTube for IOG Fort Lauderdale. And just reaching the masses. Thanking you all for always, as you always do, tune in. And especially on Tuesday nights. I try to be consistent to be here every Tuesday night. We're doing the best that we can on that because, brothers and sisters, there's so much to cover and so much going on. I have been playing a podcast for the past few nights. And I'm not going to get into that, but it's very interesting. If you haven't gotten a chance to go over there and check it out, go over there and check it out. You're going to like it. I think you're going to like it. You know, what I wanted to do tonight, as you saw the infomercial coming up, we have our final series, the 5th lesson, coming up for Black History Month. And before I dive into things, y'all know what I like to do. I like to go ahead and get our scripture reading. Where's my mouse? There it is. I like to do our scripture reading, right? So let's work on that. Let's go ahead and get our scripture reading up on the board. And we're going to go to Psalms 111, verse 10. And we're going to come back in. We're going to come back and show you what we're going to be doing tonight. We're not going to be before you long, but we're going to, make it decent. Psalms 111, verse 10. And this is what it says, brothers and sisters. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. This has been a good month. We have really been looking at these lessons. Black history, according to the prophets. So much information in those lessons. And I just want to take a time tonight and really cover what those lessons, what they've been talking about. I mean, they have really been good. I want to say shout out to all of our moderators in the chat room. So shout out to them. Thank all of you all for being here. So let's get into this. and where I believe this lesson, these 4 lessons, have done something. Now I want to bring out some key parts that we have been getting from these lessons over the past month. And I thought that it would be good to share and to talk. And that's why I wanted to just really kind of talk tonight. And let's have some discussion on it. If you have a comment, you're more than happy. Feel more than welcome to put it in the chat room. And if it's something I catch, I'll put it up on the screen. But out of all of these lessons combined, I see that I want to talk about the children of Israel first. Got to talk about the children of Israel because this Bible is our history book. This is the history book for the children of Israel. So these lessons emphasize the relationship between God and the children of Israel. And it basically highlighted their role as the chosen people and the priests. I want to add that in there. The chosen people and the priests. Okay? Because the scripture says, ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. That's what the scripture says over in, let's go take a look at that real quick in Exodus, the 9th chapter. Exodus, the 19th chapter. As I talk, and if I can take a moment to bring up a scripture, we'll do that too. Exodus 19th chapter, and in particular verse 6. And this is what it says about these children of Israel. It says, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. You're going to be a holy nation for me. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So as we can see here, Israel has a unique role where God promised Israel that they would be his chosen people, and saying, ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So it's all throughout the scriptures that the understanding given to Moses to give to the children of Israel, that they are his people. There's a purpose for Israel. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. Let's take another look at another scripture regarding that. 7th chapter, and we're going to look at verse number 6. Let's look at verse number 6. This is what it says. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a peculiar, listen to this, to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So, in the past several weeks, I've really come to the conclusion that Israel was special. Y'all know the one scripture says that Israel is the apple of his eye. Excuse me. He's the apple of, they are the apple of his eye. So when you look at that, you have to know this is a special group. And this is why we often say that the Bible is our history book, because the children of Israel are the only people God has adopted. And that's what we just read in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, verse 6, where it says, thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Israel, you are a holy people. And the reason is, brothers and sisters, because we were given a job. We were given a role. And it goes back to Exodus 9:19 and 6, and I'm going to highlight that here where it says, ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. That's who Israel is. That's who we are. That's who we were chosen to be. I can't change that. That's just the way it is. It's the way it is. Because this verse, again, highlights that God's covenant with Israel was unique and it was exclusive. And we saw that in all of these lessons that Pastor BUIE brought out, especially the one last week, it was a very good lesson I can't say especially the one last week. All of them have been good. And he made it clear that in that lesson it was brought out that all the prophets and the apostles came out of the children of Israel. And we also learned that Jesus also came through Israel. So salvation, brothers and sisters, is specifically tied to the Israelites. It's tied to us, salvation. Israel is the priest of God. And if anybody wants salvation, they have to come through Israel, because salvation is of the Jews. And so although salvation originates from us, but the New Testament makes it clear that the gospel is intended for all nations. It's intended for all nations. Because in Romans, remember, Paul wrote this. Because remember, Israel fell off the wagon, but this thing is available to all nations. Romans 1 and 1 in verse 16. That's what I want to read. Listen to this. Paul says, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth. But check this out. To the Jew first, and also to the Greek. And why does it say to the Jews first? Because we're going to learn that in our discussion tonight what Jesus came to do. So again, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation for everyone that believes. And he goes on to say that to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. And this means that while these lessons, what we learn from this lesson, over, and all of them, I'm talking about all four of them collectively, that salvation has to come through Christ, and he came to give all salvation, but the oracles were given to Israel, brothers and sisters. It was given to Israel. So God's redemptive work is through Jesus, but it's made available to everyone who believes. But you got to follow the promises to Abraham. And Abraham, let's go read that, the promises that he made to Abraham. I'm going to go to Genesis real quick. And let's go see what those promises are. Genesis, the 12th chapter, verse 3. Listen to what it says here. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Because when you look at the lineage, Jesus came from, he came through Mary, but he was a part of the Abraham family. Disobedience and punishment and scattering is what this is all about. And it's what these four lessons were about. Because what we found is that people who were the children of Israel, they were disobedient, and they got punished, and they got scattered. That's what happened to them. They became disobedient, and as a result, they were punished and got scattered. So these lessons got into the historical suffering as well as the slavery of the children of Israel because of our forefathers' disobedience. And Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, you cannot have Black History Month according to the prophets without bringing in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We know people hate when we keep bringing up Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, because it's repeatedly cited all throughout the month as a prophecy of the curses that would be fall upon Israel, our forefathers, for failing to simply keep God's commandments. So the curses include being scattered among all nations, the fact that we are the descendants of slaves coming on a ship. All of that is a part of being identified with the people of the book. So these curses include being scattered among all nations, serving other gods, and experiencing great hardship. So all Israel have transgressed. All Israel, those who have been scattered, all of this came upon us. It came upon us, brothers and sisters, because our forefathers refused to do what God required. Do y'all remember when Daniel was praying in the 9th chapter? Let's go over there real quick. Daniel, the 9th chapter. I want to just show this to you because this is something that pops into mind real quick. Daniel, the 9th chapter. This is what really pops into mind about this. Daniel was praying because he was trying to get interpretation of this dream. But he says, to the Lord our God, I'm going to look at verse number 9. To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against it. He's praying and looking at what the condition of all of Israel is. He says, neither have we, let me go back to verse 9. To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God to walk in his ways, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets. All of this was poured out to us, brothers and sisters. But then he says, yea, in verse number 11, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they may not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. So as you can see here, we sinned against the Lord. And he says, I'm going to cause you to be smitten down before your enemies. Because slavery, brothers and sisters, is interpreted as a consequence of disobedience. Specifically, it was all prophesied in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. And again, those that are tuning in, we're hitting the synopsis of the first 4 lessons. We're just giving you a summary of the first 4 lessons, okay? Because remember now, as we talk about what the children of Israel had to go through in Deuteronomy 28 chapter, read all of it. I encourage you to read and look at the curses. But it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies. That's in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. Let me put it up there so you can see. We don't have to read it specifically, but I just want you to be able to see it so you can see what happened to the children of Israel. Because he says, I'm going to bring you all again into ships. That wasn't like we're going to be put on a ship. That was like back into Egypt. We're going to go on ships, but back into bondage, because Egypt represented bondage. That's what it represented. And because of our disobedience and rebelliousness, the Lord said, listen, I'm going to bring you into Egypt again with ships. And there you're going to be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. That's what the Lord said that's going to happen. He says that no man shall buy you. But what that means, nobody's going to redeem you. Brothers and sisters, nobody has redeemed us from this mess that we're in yet. Marcus Garvey couldn't do it. Malcolm X could not do it. Martin Luther King could not do it. Farrakhan. I'm listing people who have come down through the ages, and there was an expectation. Jesse Jackson couldn't do it. Al Sharpton could not do it. No man shall buy you. Because brothers and sisters, we entered into a spiritual death that the scriptures talk about because of our forefathers' disobedience. That's what we entered into. And so the first lesson being color, the second one being, I believe the second one was slavery, And then we dealt with the priest of God. I mean, look at what we were dealing with. Look at all these lessons collectively. And remember, Pastor BUIE got over into dealing with the concept of spiritual death when he went to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Because when you're going through the concept of spiritual death, or the mind, which is the mind and the body, is introduced and linked to disobedience when Paul brought out the fact that we're in bondage. And then in Pastor BUIE's lesson, when he brought out Ezekiel the 37th chapter, talking about a valley of dry bones, and how he connected it to being Israel. So it was. So what we have to look at, brothers and sisters, when we are dealing with spiritual death, we have to look for restoration, a renewed commitment back to God. Remember when Solomon was praying, he says, and when you sin, because you will, and when you are scattered among the four corners of the earth, placed on ships, if you face Jerusalem and bethink yourself, I will hear you. So brothers and sisters, Israel would never be put together back as a nation. It's not what I mean as a nation within a nation here. When we become a nation again, it's when Jesus is going to return. It's when it's going to happen. But we have caused ourselves, thanks to our forefathers, to get into this predicament. And so what some people do that is into the knowledge of the truth, they start to blame other people instead of putting it back on where it was originated from. So it's pointless, it's really pointless to get mad at Gentiles, Hamites, and Arabs because of our condition. It's our fault for disobeying our God. And so we have to own it. We have to own it. Israel, as a result of all this, ended up in the valley of dry bones by sinning. By sinning. That's what happened to the children of Israel. That's the valley of dry bones. The valley of dry bones. Take a look at that. Go back and look at that lesson. Go back and read it, Ezekiel the 37th chapter. It's very good. So the role of Jesus, brothers and sisters, in all of this, Jesus is identified as being of the lineage of David. And so we can go through the scriptures, we can look at all of that. And ministering primary, when Jesus came, he primarily came to the house of Israel. That's who he came to. And so while we know that his message eventually extends to everybody on earth. But when Jesus came on the scene in these first four lessons, especially through the priests of God, we learned that Israel has a role. They have a role. There's things that they have to do. Israel has a role. And that what Israel was supposed to do was to be a light to the nations, but they failed miserably at that. But this salvation comes for everybody, but the oracles was given to Israel, and Israel has to get back on their job teaching. That's what they got to do. So the initial focus that Jesus came, he came to the lost tribes of the house of Israel. And that's what he came to do. He came to get them back where they were supposed to be at. Now some people say, what do you mean? He came only for the lost tribe of the house of Israel. Let's go to Matthew, the 15th chapter. Matthew 15, and we're going to look at verse number 24. This is what it says. You know what? Let me go back up. Let me go back up and read this a little bit. Verse 21. This came out in Pastor Boyd's lesson, by the way. Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the coast, out of that same coast, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. His disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. Look at verse 24. But he answered and said to this woman, I am not sent, but I'm only sent unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's very important. That's very important to take a note, because what he's letting them know is when I came to the house of Israel, the purpose of coming to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, so Israel can get out there and start doing their role. In fact, Jesus told Israel when he first started dealing with them, do not go out there and bring stuff in. Stay in close quarters. Stay in close quarters. I want y'all to only deal with the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Don't be going out there wandering and trying to get involved with everything else. Let me show this to you. Let's go to Matthew the 10th chapter. Matthew the 10th chapter. Listen to this. Because Jesus, if he's going to deal with Israel first, there has to be a reason behind it. Matthew the 10th chapter. I got over to chapter 1. I want chapter 10. And let me just show you all this right here. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits. That's what he did. And check this out. And to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now the name of the apostles, or the names of the 12 apostles are these. We're not going to get into all of that, but I want to show you what instructions he gave them. In verse 5, these 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans. Enter ye not. Don't even enter going into those places, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And go, and as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Wow. This is what the declaration, this is the declaration that Jesus gave to the children of Israel. These are specific words. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go out and bring in other people. I want you to go out and do this, because I have not dealt with any other nation like I've dealt with Israel. No other nation. Let's go over to Deuteronomy 4 and 35 real quick. Deuteronomy 4 and 35. It's always good to get this good information. Deuteronomy 4 and 35. Listen to what it says. Unto thee it is shown that thou mightest know that the Lord, he is good, and there is none else beside him. I'm telling you, Israel, that there is nobody else beside me. That's what the instructions that the Lord was speaking, so he could go out and show this to the children of Israel. There's nobody else. Nobody's going to treat you all the way that I treat you. No other God, because the other gods are not even gods, for number one. There's none else beside him. But the children of Israel didn't listen. Israel is reminded in this scripture that the Lord, the God of Israel, is the sole God, and that there is no other God besides him. None other. and prophecy in the end times, the scriptures offer an interpretation of current events and future prophecies. Because when I read the scriptures, I cut on the news, I see the scriptures like unfolding right before my eyes. When I see certain things, I'm like, look at this right here. Look how this is being set up. Look how this is being orchestrated. It's just the way it is, brothers and sisters. And we're in this situation. We're riding it out because we're just basically waiting till Jesus comes. We're keeping the feast days every year. We do the dietary law every year. We eat clean when we go out. We try to stay on our par. And the reason is that we want to be a part of that number. Because Jesus is going to gather Israel at his appearing. And tell them, brothers and sisters, Israel is just simply scattered. We're scattered. That's where we are right now. We're scattered. We're all over the place. There's no consistency in our whereabouts, other than we know those of us that are here in North America, but we're scattered all over the place. We were scattered, depending on who we were taken by. If we were taken by the French, and as they came to their new world taking route, they stopped at Port-au-Prince, Haiti. If you were taken by the English or England, your stop was the Bahamas and Jamaica. If you were taken by the Spaniards, your stop was Little Havana and Cuba. That's where there's a lot of Hebrews. I'm talking about what we call blue black people in Cuba. And if we were taken by the Spaniards, that's where the port was. And then they would bring on, go ahead and come toward the United States or America. That's how that happened. And but he's going to gather us when he comes. But we got to stay on par. We got to stay on this journey that we on. We got to stay on the journey, brothers and sisters. We have to stay on the journey. So I did a couple lessons that I submitted to be presented in a podcast. It did work. Some of y'all have looked at it, and it came out very good. But in doing that, we have been learning a lot, even what others say, but we also been learning because these lessons, brothers and sisters, every week, one is building upon the other. Shout out to Brother Julius. I just saw him coming in here. Good evening to you too, my brother Julius. So these first 4 lessons, I just thought they were awesome. I sent them to people I know. I encourage you to send them to people that you know. They're very easy to send. They're very easy to go look for. Just go to YouTube, put IOG, Black History, and each week they're going to come up. I even saw the ones from last year. They were there also. So, but like I said, we learned so much in these lessons over the past 4 weeks. I just thought it was awesome. I have really, every year that I hear these lessons, it's the same lesson. I always get something that I did not get out the time prior to. That's the way learning is. Somebody's reading, you get certain stuff, you get stuck on it, then you miss the next point that they made. And that's okay. That's the way learning is, and this is why we come back. So I just saw, looking at this lesson and listening to them again, they're just as sweet as they were when they were originally given that I came across them. So very good lessons that we have put together here, and I just really hope that all of you all have been enjoying them. If you've been enjoying the lessons, put a thumbs up in the chat room or the number 1 if you've really been enjoying these lessons, because I just think that they're awesome lessons. So if you've been enjoying them, put a thumbs up or Roman numeral 1 in the chat room. Just want to see where you are at on it, because I just think it was just very, very good in the way it was drawn out. Jesus is going to return, brothers and sisters. And when he returns, he's going to gather us that we've learned in all of these lessons over the past 4 weeks. That what's going to happen is that when Jesus returns, he's going to gather us from the nations where we've been scattered. And that's what we want him to do. That's exactly what we want him to do. We want to be a part of that number, right? That number to hear him say, "Well done, good and faithful servant, faithful with a few things, but I'm going to make you ruler over many." We want to be obedient. We really want to be obedient. Come to think of it, that most of the people on that transatlantic slave ship, on all of those ships, the cargo, again, was Israel, but they were small children. A lot of them were small children placed on ships. So it's kind of deep right there. It's kind of deep, because they had no couth. They didn't care about separating parents from children. But remember, we not blaming nobody for what happened, because we learned even in the lessons that Pastor BUIE brought, don't want to take revenge on Egypt, because they knew this was your punishment, and the Lord did that to you, Israel. That's what he did. He did it to you. He did it to our forefathers. So it's pointless to get mad at the Gentiles. It really is. But some people get mad. They get upset. So that's not something we want to do, is get mad at the Gentiles. "Oh, you took me." No, our forefathers caused that, brothers and sisters. That's who started it. That's who started it. Our forefathers. But our job is to correct the wrong. Get back into the book. Open up these lessons. Study them. Learn the commandments of God. Don't let anybody try to turn you away from the commandments of God. Be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the word of the truth. That's how that has to work. Okay? And make sure that you're rooted and grounded in the understanding of all things. You got to. You got to. But I'm going to wrap this up, brothers and sisters. Just remember, Jesus is going to gather Israel. He's going to gather Israel at his appearing. Until then, we're going to remain scattered. We're going to remain scattered. That's how that's going to work. And all we have to do, stay on track. It's amazing that Jesus, in the scriptures, give us a way of survival. And that is, just stay within a good group. Be lawful. Be lawful. Stay in a good group. Get you a good class that's going to study this word. and wait for Jesus to come. That's all we're doing. We're just waiting, brothers and sisters. We're waiting for prophecy to come out and continue to fulfill itself. Instead, until then, this gospel's got to be preached, and that's what we're doing. We're teaching this gospel into the four corners of the earth. That's what we got to do. We can't play around with this. Yes, go back and listen, Brother Denzel. You would like it. A Destiny's Child. That's all it is. Destiny's Child. Go back and look at that Destiny's Child. These were the last two. You'll go back and listen to the lesson. Okay, I will go back and listen to the lesson. Okay, yeah. If you missed part of it, go back and check it out. But listen, I love the first four lessons. They were awesome. We got one more left. Again, as we said, we got one more left. So you all check into it. Check into it. Get. Don't listen to it one time. Listen to it multiple times. You're going to learn something that you didn't get before. You're going to get that. And it's all right there. But the main thing is we're waiting, because when Jesus comes, the scripture says, I will gather you one by one from the nation where you have been scattered. That's what we wait now. We're waiting for his return. And at the appointed time, God will adopt, as we know, many other nations as he adopted the children of Israel. And we just have to be the leaders, the head, not to tail. Okay? That's what we have to be. So I enjoyed you all tonight. Brother Julius is letting us know that this coming Thursday, he's going to have Brother James Anderson and Brother Tony P. The lesson is Try the Spirit by the Spirit. And let me put that on the board. There you go. That's going to be the lesson. Coming up. All right. So, again, I just wanted to talk about the lessons and what we have heard and how everything was working very well in those lessons. As far as information that was given out, go back and check it out. And you'll find that those lessons were very instrumental. So I've been send them to people, by the way, brothers and sisters. Send them to relatives. Go to your phone and pull them up and share them. Tonight, share them with 10 people. Share those lessons with 10 people. Go grab lesson 1 and share it with 10 people. Only do just to grab one lesson, make it simple. Pull up lesson 1 and send it to 10 people on your phone. Just go there and just text it to them. It could be relatives, people that you know that might say, wow. We don't want to cast pearls among the swine. We're not trying to, man, don't send me that stuff. We ain't trying to don't send it to somebody that's going to give you a debate. Don't do that. Just send it to 10 people who you know that might say, wow, I really enjoyed that. That's wow, very informative. I sent it to a friend of mine tonight. I worked with him for years. And shout out to Brother JR. He's in the hospital waiting for a heart transplant. And wow, our prayers out with him. So when I called him to talk to him and say, listen, man, I know you're sitting there, and of course I offered whatever I could bring him if he needed headphones or anything like that. I said, man, if I have to, I got a good set of headphones here. If I have to, I go get him a set. You know, I just wanted him to be comfortable while he was there. And the reason why I said I wanted him to get some headphones and say, hey, man, you need an iPad or anything, because my mind was, I'm going to give him some of these lessons. This brother's sitting there, and he says, man, please send me some stuff. I'm interested. So I sent it to him, and I'll get a text message and and see what his feedback is on that lesson. We had a pastor that came all the way down from West Palm Beach on lesson 1. He was very intrigued with what he heard, and I sent it to him again so he could watch it, and I'm going to send the one dealing with slavery. I'm going to send the one dealing with the priest of God. The priest of God. Oh my goodness. You know, this week it was nice that people at the IOG Fort Lauderdale class, you know, they just, when Pastor BUIE gave the lesson, they were just, you could just hear the enthusiasm. And we're growing, brothers and sisters. They're telling me, Pastor, come on, you got to build. Feast days are coming up, and they're saying, listen, we've outgrown the place for feast days. We got to do something. So, but this is what it's about, bringing people. Send that lesson out. Lesson number 1, send it out to 10 people tonight when we get off the phone. So that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get me some rest. I got to get up in the morning. I got to go to work. It's 10:41 here. I know 9 o'clock 41 at Central Time. But I got to go to bed. I got to get me some sleep. And I want to say to all of y'all, thank you for tuning in. And thank you for checking out that series that we did last night, the night before, dealing with the podcast. Go back if you did not get a chance to listen to those that we uploaded from last night or the night before. Very, very, very interesting. Go check it out. So let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts, let it be acceptable in his sight. The Lord be our strength and our Redeemer. Peace and blessings to you.